Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Clashing Conferences. I know you're probably wondering what we're doing tonight, but this is something actually a little special and a little different. Now, normally we come here to joke and banter and go at each other, and we're still going to do that tonight. But in honor of arguably the greatest wrestler of all time, Hulk Hogan, we've collected all of our wrestling aficionados under our umbrella to come and kind of share some memories tonight about what Hollywood Hulk Hogan meant to their lives. Now, again, I know that some of you out there have watched the Five Fingers of the Face podcast, which is on hiatus for the summer. But we also have a returning guest from one of our episodes previously with Justin Credible. Justin, thank you for joining us again tonight.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Anything for you.
Appreciate it. So, guys, this is not we're not doing sponsors. We're not doing Mat Libs. We're not doing a halftime. We're just going to talk. So I'm going to throw it out to you guys. Now, we do have a couple of other new people here that are new to the fold. We have Joe and Tommy, who are brothers. Joe, Tommy, thank you for joining us tonight as well.
Thanks for having me.
And I know you guys
Thanks,
are
brother.
lifelong wrestling fans. So again, I'll actually let it lead off with you guys. What has wrestling and Hulk Hogan meant to you as fans?
I mean, I'm 50. I started watching wrestling when he had his cartoon back in the early 80s, just before the WrestleMania started. Probably when he won his first championship in the WWF, and just kind of, been hooked ever since. And now it's 44 years later and I'm still watching, more than ever.
Yep.
Go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say, let me tell you something, brother. Hulkamania was established in 1984. So that was the year I was born. So every WrestleMania is a year I am. And I've been a diehard fan since, WrestleMania 5 probably. Because of my brother. He's a nut job. He loves it. He's never missed an episode of Raw in his life. So glad to have him here as well. But yeah, Hulk Hogan, I mean, he's at the top of Mount Rushmore. You talk about a guy who was like one of the greatest faces of all time with Hulkamania, and then the best heel of all time with Hollywood NWO. I mean, not many guys have been at the top for both sides,
Yep.
So I say that's the thing that jumps out to me about Hulk Hogan's career.
Yep, I agree. Now, Justin, you obviously were involved with the wrestling community. What interactions or memories do you have of Hulk?
Wow. Well, I got a lot of stuff to say about Hulk, but I remember one time when I first met him face to face. It was when I was teaming with X-Pac, doing X Factor, and he had come in for it, and he came in for his run with the NWO. And we were done with the matches. It was like a Monday Night Raw, and we were all staying at the same hotel. Me, Scott, and Kid. We were rooming together for some reason, and he's like, "Yo, let's go up to Hulk's room." I said, "Okay." So we go up to Hulk's room to have a couple beers. First time I really met him and introduced myself. And as I walk in, there he is in the red and yellow, barefoot, but still has his red spandex on, the shirt, the tank top and the bandana, and he's rolling a big fat joint. And what's up, brother? You gonna smoke with us, Credible? I'm like, yeah, brother. And it was just an all-around real dude. He's just a real guy. But he's larger than life because, like you said, we all grew up watching Hulk. And so the whole site was pretty wild. But he was just a typical Florida boy. Like the beach, like hitting the weights, no different than anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like play music.
Yeah.
I remember, watching him beat the Iron Sheik, in 1984 on a black and white TV, when I was a kid. And that's what really got me into wrestling. Hulk Hogan is an icon. And a lot of people, don't give him the credit he deserves because if you watch some of his matches in Japan, Hulk could actually wrestle.
He could
He could really wrestle. He didn't have to because that wasn't his gimmick. Right? But if he really wanted to, especially in his younger days, 81, 82, he could wrestle, man. I mean, it's like, I don't blame him. I could go out and wrestle too, but it's easier to hit somebody with a kendo stick. So I get that's your gimmick, right? You don't have to go out there doing, all these reversals and suplexes if you don't have to. But Hulk was all around great. I never dealt with him with all the politics people say. I don't doubt that either because wrestling is that kind of business. But on a positive note, man, he was really cool.
Now, before I pivot, again, I don't want this to be just so somber, so I have to ask Justin, did he stay in his costume while you guys were partaking?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Even better. Okay.
of course you did.
That's
But he
awesome.
was always
Good.
like that. And then again in the morning, me and Kid had an appearance early, and we'd stayed up all night. We were all hungover, and I'm in the limo waiting for Kid because Kid was always late. And I was hungover. Everybody's hungover. I get a knock on my the window while I was waiting, and I roll down the window, and it's Hulk, and there he is with the black NWO and the spandex and that and the thing that the headband, and and he's like, "Hey brother, you got any pre-workout?" Try to. That's how it was. He just always was in gimmick.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's like random videos of him like just in public in his wrestling shirts. It's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Selling some shirts, man.
Did he rip his shirt off while you guys were smoking?
No, no. I wish you would have.
That would have been
That
awesome.
would have been awesome. That would have just
Wish you
added
would
to
have.
the story.
Now, Kyle and Cody. Now, I'm going to go to Cody first, Kyle, because I think some people were concerned that Cody was milk box material, but we found him. He's here. So, Cody, we haven't seen you since the Five Fingers of the Face podcast. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Hogan? I know you're a diehard guy.
I think, no shade at anybody. I think I'm the youngest one here. So my
It's messed up. That's messed up, Cody. That's
I'm
messed up.
sorry. And maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not, but I feel like I am. And my first thing with Hogan was I remember, what was it? NWO versus WCW Thunder, I think, on Nintendo 64. I think that's what it was. That's the first time NWO kind of thing. And I thought that was larger than life. And then you kind of deep dive into it and then learn before that he was just huge. And I think without him, I don't think the industry would have been, there wouldn't have been that big star. There's so many after him, like The Rock or Stone Cold. Without Hulk, in my opinion, I think that's the first big one to blow. And
He
people
popped the
kind of follow
business
suit.
too. He
Yeah.
popped the business more times than anybody. He popped the business in '84 with his original WWF title run, right? Did it all, like the cartoons, the TV shows, Saturday Night's Main Event, WrestleManias, all of that. And then he went to WCW. And with the NWO, popped that thing to what you said, right? I didn't mean to cut you off, but just to
No,
what you
you're
were
good, man.
saying, it was like larger than life again.
Yep.
So, Hulk really knew how to do business.
Yeah. His career kind of reminded me of Tom Brady's. Like, it had two eras, you know what I mean? And they were
Yeah.
equally successful in different ways. So
That's fair, yeah.
yeah. Kyle,
And it's kind of almost like his music
my
is
bad,
like Stone
Cody.
Cold.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. His music
ahead,
is almost like that iconic Stone Cold. You hear the glass break,
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
here comes
Yeah.
Stone Cold. And then you hear the intro to his song, you go, oh shit, it's Hogan.
I can't
mean?
believe it. I can't believe he's passed away only because, I heard rumors on Bubba the Love Sponge, which
Me
I was
too,
like, oh,
yeah.
that can't be real because,
Right.
those two have heat. He's probably just
Oh, yeah.
talking BS, but I guess there was something to it, And
Yeah.
I know Hulk,
Bubba's
I know
stuck to
Hulk
his
was beat
guns.
up for a fact, but I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
saw-
heard
I-
that about Bubba as well. And I went back and listened to it today on my way home. And he was talking about how he was in an induced coma. He had something with his valve to his heart.
Yeah.
And like his
It all
body
makes sense
rejected
now.
it.
Yeah, it all
right.
makes
I
sense,
was like, yeah.
Which
Yeah, I
is
think it was-
too bad, unfortunately.
He had a neck surgery in May, and I think that it never took, or he didn't do well after.
Complications
So,
since then, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
He just came out with that. He had this weird promo with Eric Bischoff. He was going to do this new podcast, and I don't remember anything coming of it. Maybe it's because he got sick. He had that surgery or whatever.
Well, they're going through with that Real American Freestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that what that
Tickets are-
podcast was about? Is that what that was about?
Yeah, I
the
think
wrestling?
that's what
Okay.
it was.
Yeah,
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 it's basically
yeah.
they're going to take all like legit Olympic wrestlers and with a pro wrestling flair, like it's going to be a shoot.
Yeah.
And they got a TV deal too. Fox Nation, the app is going to be carrying it, so it's going to. I mean, Almost like a mixed martial arts, but not with no striking. But it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. But Hulk now not a part of it's going to really hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
For sure.
Kyle, I know you. I can see the iconic heavyweight championship belt. You've been waiting patiently, sir. It's your turn.
Well, I mean, I started off early with him, and watching, Saturday morning WWE superstars or WWF superstars Saturday morning 10 a.m. Right. This was before Raw. This was before all that stuff. So waking up on Saturday mornings, most kids my age watch cartoons. I watched wrestling. Right.
Nice.
That's exactly what I watched every Saturday morning. I was into it. We'd watch WWF in the morning and then NWA/WCW at 6 o'clock, 6:05 actually on TBS
That's
in the
right.
evening at that
Yep.
time. Right.
Yeah.
So
Everything was 05.
exactly. And then when he moved to WCW, it was like iconic because then it was like, oh, we're finally going to get to see Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan and
Yeah.
the dream matchup, right? And it was just, it was awesome for me. And Cody touched on his music. I mean, to have two iconic songs that when you hear the first riff, you know exactly who it is, and that crowd goes nuts. And he had two of them. Two of them. The Real American, like I Am a Real American, and then the NWO. It's just insane, man. He was just he was a childhood hero of mine, an icon, definitely on the Mount Rushmore.
I can't hear Voodoo Child without thinking about him now.
100%, 100%.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and look, shout out to Ric Flair, but I don't think any of us on this pod right now would have guessed in a million years Ric Flair would outlive Hulk Hogan.
No,
No,
Definitely not.
never.
Right? So shout out to Ric Flair, man. He's doing whatever he's doing, that voodoo he's doing, man. Shout out to him, and let's try to keep him around as long as we can.
It's got to be the alcohol. Keeps him young.
Gotta be.
It's gotta be.
Has
Ric
to be.
Flair.
Has to be.
Ric Flair parties hard. I have a feeling. I guess it's kind of like the lead singer of Rolling Stones. They just
Yeah.
keep it up and they live forever.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you live, guys.
Well, somebody said something funny because we recently lost Ozzy, and think about it this way: Richard Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy outlived Richard Simmons.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Figure that out. And Richard Simmons is like a health guy,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So listen, when you're, I believe that your number is written in the book, your day is written in the book, and when it's your time, it's your time.
Keith Richards. Keith Richards is still alive.
Who is?
Keith Richards.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
never gonna die. He'll never die.
I mean, he looks like he died like 20 years ago, but he's
Probably,
still alive.
probably.
Yeah.
now,
It's like he
I
pickles
wanna-
himself.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys something because this is actually something I've seriously said for years. And I think with our current president, I don't do politics, but I think with our current president, this could have a chance. I have said for a long time, dump the national anthem. Real American Hero is the new national anthem for America. Do you guys want to get a
for it.
petition going?
Yeah.
100%.
I'll sign it.
Let's do
Let's
it.
roll with it.
Yeah, that works for me, brother.
Yeah. Done with
listen,
ballads. No,
Our,
I want
our
that
current
place
national
to
anthem, and Real American Hero both give me goosebumps every time I hear it. So I'm good
Yeah.
either way. I am good either way.
And he was with Team Trump there. I mean, of course, he caught some heat for it, but
Yeah.
Whatever.
If ever there was a chance, now would be the time.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
maybe after this,
Trump
we'll
would
start
do
looking
it.
up how to get a petition going, and we can get the first 6
I
signatures.
think Trump
down.
would.
Yeah.
Maybe we get Trump on here and talk about it. You never know. Shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll call him after this. I'll see if he might be. busy.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
he'll get right on.
Maybe Justin can call him. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll
as
figure
long
it
as
out.
we change it to Trumpomania, he'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, boys, give me some more memories. You guys can just start jumping in. It's like double dutch. I don't want to interrupt or stop you. but,
I feel
man.
well. I'm sure the two brothers could probably attest to this, but I had a sister. But as a young boy, you always want to do the wrestling moves, and I remember doing the leg drop on my sister. She's like 4 years younger than me, but I remember doing that. She coming through and then going over, and then I choke slamming her. I remember all that, but the first one was the leg drop. It was the holster. That was it.
Yeah.
Like that was the one we could agree on. Like, hey, can I choke slam you? No, that'll hurt. What about a leg drop? All right, we can do the leg drop.
You can
I
break
went
your
to a I went to a Halloween party years ago during the height of NWO, and my buddy Edwin dressed as Crow Sting, and I dressed as Hollywood Hogan, and we had a wrestling match, at the party. It was great.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was
That would
great.
have been awesome.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I
Hawk,
got to tell you, I think my brother and I have shared numerous times of not only wrestling, but we've done we've done this of Hogan numerous
Yeah.
times when we've been intoxicated. And I think my brother holds the record for most T-shirts ripped while intoxicated, while he was
That's
at
funny.
Temple in his fraternity. And there is video proof of him doing it. We tried to get him on the pod tonight to actually go out and rip his T-shirt one last time in honor of Hawk. So you might be seeing that coming as a video. We'll see what happens, but
I'm sure he
yeah,
did the I'm sure he did the poses too. You know,
100%, hundred
I
percent.
wonder if
we all
McDonald's
did
would
that.
frown if I
Hell,
rip
I
my
still
shirt in the
do that. I
McDonald's
think.
parking lot.
Yeah,
that could kind of be like a
you
new
have
ice
to still
bucket
do it.
challenge. Like we could like just tell
Right,
Yeah,
everybody
there you go.
to honor Hulk, you have to rip a shirt off.
There you
Rip
right.
your
go.
shirt off and
Uh,
then flex. Yeah,
Not a bad
Yeah.
idea, actually.
I would scar you guys for life if I did that.
I think all of us would at this point, including myself.
I think the one
Tommy.
the
Oh, my bad, my bad. I was gonna
Yeah.
ask Tommy how much wrestling did you and your brother do, and who used to get the best of the other?
Oh, I mean, he kicked my ass my whole life. There's no secret. He's bigger. He's 10 years older. I never stood a chance. Yeah, he's what got me hooked. I got out of
Okay.
wrestling in like that early mid 2004 5 ish maybe, a little after high school for me, and then but he hooked me back a few years later, and yeah, we don't miss. I mean, we're diehards to this day. It's fun, you know. My daughter loves it now. She's a diehard with it. We went to WrestleMania in Philly last year. That was a blast.
yep,
Oh, that's
same,
Yeah,
same.
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I think
But
Well,
that's
Hogan's at the
the
top.
coolest part about this, right? Is the fact that like we all got hooked on it. Usually, most of us because of Hogan, right? That are our
Yeah.
age, and now we're able to kind of pass that down to our kids and kind of explain to them the legacy and explain to them everything. And now they're hooked on wrestling because of the new age guys. But still,
Right.
I see my son watching YouTube videos and he's watching all the old school guys and asking me questions about Hogan, asking me questions about Roddy Piper. Justin, he even saw some of your videos on YouTube and said, "What about these guys?" And I was like, "You have no idea how hardcore those guys were." Like some of that stuff wasn't a shoot, man. Like they were
No,
really
Yeah.
hitting each other like that. So
I'm not.
I'm sure
Yeah.
if you heard these guys, like they can tell you some hard stories. But when you just came on and said you broke the rib, sure, back then in the early 2000s, there was probably
Yeah.
some more injuries than that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. I'll tell you one thing though, man, real quick, because I'm gonna jump off in a little bit, but I don't think if Hulk Hogan never won the title from the Iron Sheik and Hulkamania never existed, I don't think the wrestling business would be anything,
no,
anything that resembles what it is today. I
nope.
think it would still be in high school gymnasiums.
Yep.
I think it would still be a like very small niche thing
Yep.
instead of a worldwide global phenomenon that it is today. I
Yeah.
really believe that,
I
you know,
agree.
because Hulk Hogan did it. I mean, Steve Austin, arguably, you could say Steve Austin drew more money, and I was there for a lot of it. And boy, those places drew money. But Hulk did as well. I think Steve just had it was Hogan had a much longer run. Steve's run was about 3 years on absolute fire, but Hogan just he was more of a trailblazer as far as I'm concerned. I love Steve. Steve's a good friend of mine. You know, I talk to him to this day, and I'm sorry, I no disrespect, but Hogan changed the business, and we wouldn't have what we have today
I agree.
without Hogan. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
I wonder if was Stone Cold not built because of Hogan. You know, that little ECW run he had was because he was pissed off at Hogan, and really the pressure that WWF was feeling during the Monday Night Wars is where The Rock and Stone Cold start building up. That's because Hogan was leading the charge on the other channel.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, you know, there's always, one thing that's weird about wrestling, and the one thing I've always hated is politics. And unfortunately, when you're in those powerful positions, there's a lot of backstabbing and a lot of clicks. And, you know, when it's something that's not real and doesn't, you know what I mean? You need to be, you know, the script needs to be written, so to speak. And I hate to use that word, but you got to be booked. You can't just go out there and beat people because it's not legit. it gets tough. So there was a lot of shady dealings. But that aside, it all worked out for the best. I'm glad Hulk also got to make peace with the WWE.
Yeah.
Vince had some nice things to say. Steve Austin, Undertaker, and I know Undertaker isn't too fond of Hulk, but even he had nice things to say.
Yep.
So I think the whole community does. Without Hulk Hogan, none of us would be here.
Right.
I wanna ask you
Yeah.
guys because Justin and Cody, I know you guys have to jump off soon, so I'm gonna ask this question. It'll be like a faux Matt Libs question. So I'll start with you, Justin. Who do you think was the best
Sure.
foe Hogan had in his run?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's what I'm made of, baby.
The most memorable for me, only because it had so much heat, was him and Piper. That's just
Mm-hmm.
me, and maybe him and Macho Man, but I just remember the war to settle the score leading into the first WrestleMania, man. That's when people thought wrestling was a shoot, and those people, there was heat, man. You didn't get
Yeah.
heat like that. And then also, on a bigger scale, maybe Randy and Hulk, because it was a little more popular back then. But man, him and Roddy was so great, anyways. I think Roddy
Yep.
had a lot to do with that. But yeah,
How great of a
I'd say
heel
Roddy
was
Piper.
Roddy?
Yeah,
Like
I'd say
how great of a heel,
So
right?
good.
So
oh
like I
So
know
good.
Best.
you met Roddy
oh
and all that
yeah
stuff.
oh
I think
yeah
we
I knew
touched on
Roddy.
that, right? So like, if would you put him? He's on your Mount Rushmore of heels all time, right? He has to be
Oh yeah
Yeah.
oh yeah
because
Roddy
like
was.
he could get heat like none other,
And
real quick.
he was small, but he was
Yeah.
believable, man.
Yep.
He
Yep.
Yep.
was believable.
I think that's what sold with him and Hogan, right? Because of that
Yes,
heat.
a
Like
Mm-hmm.
hundred
he
percent,
just people hated him and they loved Hogan so much.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody, who do you say is his
Yo.
best rival, foe, foil?
Honestly, I don't. I just kind of remember the NWO run, and it's kind of foggy. There's been a lot of um partying over the years to kind of remember details, but the NWO run was probably, besides watching DX, I feel like NWO was one of the greatest factions I ever got to experience, and I don't think there'll be another faction like that ever. Just like DX, those once in a lifetime factions, and I think Hogan, you know, yeah, I mean Nash and Sting and Ramone made it, but I think Hogan made it pop because of Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. And before I go, I guess honor Hulk. I guess hold this, take this.
You gotta rip that shirt off.
Oh,
Uh
hold
oh.
on,
Uh
hold
oh.
on, hold on.
Oh,
Uh
You ready,
oh.
guys?
content,
He's doing it.
content.
Oh
All right,
There you
Matt,
shoot!
go.
let's go.
I hope he has a spare.
Yep. Now you better pose.
What you
Hold
There
on.
you
gotta
There
go.
you
do
go.
when
There,
Cody
there.
Gentry runs wild on you, brother.
Very good.
See you
Nice.
guys later.
Later,
Very
buddy.
good.
See you,
Love
boys.
it. Take care,
See
brother.
ya.
See ya.
That's
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 great.
awesome.
awesome.
That is awesome.
For me,
Yeah, I
Macho
mean,
Man was
look,
his biggest foe. I mean, next to Macho Man, maybe Andre, but
Andre, I
that
was gonna say, yeah, Andre.
the mega powers exploding. I mean, that was just, unbelievable. That
and then
whole year
and then you throw
long.
Elizabeth in, right? You throw Elizabeth
Yeah.
into that whole mix. So
Yeah, it was great. I
Uh,
think that storyline is what locked me into as a fan for life was that 87, 88, that year from the when Hogan lost his title with the two refs and then the build up to the tournament and then Mega Power. I mean, that
yeah.
was just like that's it. I'm a fan for life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed. I mean, I think that storyline was probably one of his better ones told for sure, with Macho
yeah.
and the Mega Powers and all that,
Yep.
especially in the Hulkamania area.
Yeah.
Look, I go back with Justin, man. I think it was Roddy. I mean, even Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, they had a rivalry going for a good while, man. And
Yeah.
Orndorff was another guy that people loved to hate, man. And
Yeah.
he got a lot of heat, but he was a hell of a wrestler. He was a hell
Yeah.
of
Oh,
a
he was
talent,
great.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when him and Hogan battled back and forth, man, like it just that was that heat. So like when it was
Oh, he could
oh
bull
my god,
Orndorff.
when it was
I would.
Orndorff and Piper against him and Mr. T, like come on,
Yeah.
like that was like what everybody wanted.
I could say this. If you think about it, Bobby Heenan doesn't get enough credit because really Hogan fought everybody that Heenan
Yeah,
represented, and Bobby took all the.
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan was so amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
His bumps, dude. He used to be a wrestler. People don't know that. In the 70s, Bobby used to
Okay.
wrestle. You know, he was very talented, man, and he would just get his ass beat. And so every time he'd bring in either Andre, he'd bring in DiBiase to, you know, or whoever, you know, he'd bring in Mr. Perfect. He always had somebody to go up against Hogan. So I'd say Bobby Heenan too was a hell of a foil for him.
Yeah, I mean
But in a
Bobby Heenan,
different way. But in a
Fuji.
different way. In a different
Yeah,
way.
Yep.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's a good call out because even because you could always hear when Bobby Heenan was a announcer, he would always
Yes.
rip into
I
Hogan.
loved
You
it.
know what I mean? He would always
Loved
rip
it.
Yeah.
into him, call him names, and like get
Yeah, Bobby was so great on that. He was so funny, dude. I miss that
yeah.
kind of commentary.
Him and Gorilla Monsoon, man, they
Oh,
were a good
Yes.
tandem. They were
they
a
were
good tandem.
so.
Yes.
Oh, I could listen to them for days. They could commentate people going grocery shopping, and it would be
Yes.
100%,
funny.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I'm excited
But
because no one
anyways,
has said
gentlemen, I
my.
got to get rolling. It was a pleasure to be on. I got to get rolling. I got to go get
Yeah.
dinner for the family. But my pleasure, and
Yeah.
rest in peace to one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, Hulk Hogan.
Nice
I'll
talking
see
to
you
you.
guys soon, okay? Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Hey,
Justin.
Thanks,
Justin.
brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice
Take care,
meeting you.
man.
Yes, sir.
All right, now I don't think anybody has said my answers yet, so I'm
That was great.
excited. So keep going, boys. Who we are? Who we gone through the rivals and
Nice.
foils?
Yeah. I got one. I mean, so it was Andre was technically said, right? I mean, we brought up Andre, but I
Yeah.
was gonna say like, and I don't love this guy, but it was one of the greatest Hogan putovers of all time is Goldberg. I mean, it was the WCW era, and they talk about Hogan. You know, we talk about politics, and he had a lot of that with the creative control,
Yep.
and a lot of guys didn't like him backstage, yada yada. But him putting over Goldberg at that time, at that moment, in an outdoor, I mean, the Georgia Dome on
It was
Monday
huge.
Nitro.
That
It
was
was the
huge.
biggest, one of the
Yeah.
biggest moments in wrestling, and he
Yeah.
Yeah.
never lost to anybody. So I mean, you got to give him credit on that, putting over a guy like Goldberg who couldn't really wrestle. Maybe
Yeah.
not the greatest foe, but I'm just saying one of his greatest match moments of all time for sure.
That's
Yeah.
fair. I mean, I think Rick Ramone's going to say the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh no, no! You have.
Yeah.
I'm glad no one is hitting on this. I'm very excited. This is good.
Okay.
Very
All
good.
right. I mean, look, that WrestleMania build up to Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior, it was pretty much everybody said, "Take my money, take my money.
Yeah.
I want to watch this. I want to see what happens." And he put Ultimate Warrior over, and he did it begrudgingly because I don't think he really thought he was going to
Right.
be the next big thing. And it
Yeah.
turns out he wasn't. Right? He turns out Hogan was actually right on that one. So he wasn't trying to be stiff and not put anybody over. He
Good
was
point.
actually seeing that, hey, I don't think he's ready to do it, but he did what was best for business, put him over, and 2 years later they had to go to Bret Hart and do all that stuff. So it was a sad situation. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, Hogan in his prime, man. Look, think about it in terms like this. Today's day and age of wrestling, you're not beating anybody with a leg drop. You know what I mean? Like you're not beating anybody with a leg drop and a fake boot to the face. But that's what he did. He would boot somebody to the face and drop a leg on them, and then that was it. Even guys like Andre the Giant, and you got guys like Macho Man Randy Savage, who had some of the best matches all time with Steamboat and stuff like that, and he's getting beat with a leg drop. Come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Right.
it was believable back then. But
Yeah, it
now
was.
it's like you look at it and it's kind of funny thinking about it. But when we were kids, it was like, nope, that shit's real, man. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rick, I want to hear it, man. I want to hear it.
Oh, I'm excited to
Me
tell
too.
it. So, because I know you know what the hell I'm talking about, so that's why I'm excited to tell it. So, we all remember the 80s and the early 90s, right? What was the big kind of thing that Vince had going on? It was kind of like America versus the world. So it was like, go fight the Russian guy, go fight this guy, go right.
I was
So,
I know.
the two,
I think.
yeah, oh yeah, the two biggest foils. I'm gonna give them to you in order. Number 2 and number 1. Number 2, Yokozuna. Because if you all remember that King of the Ring, a photographer got up there, the goddamn camera exploded in his face, Hogan loses, and then leaves WWF. He's gone. So as a kid, you're like, is he dead? Like, I mean, not making jokes given the current circumstances, but at the time, you didn't have the internet. You didn't know what was going on. You're like, the sumo wrestler killed him. So that was pretty rough because he actually left.
Yeah.
But number one with a bullet was when he was getting into it with Sergeant Slaughter, and he dressed up in the Iranian military garb with the Iron Sheik during Desert Storm. That is the wildest crap I've ever heard of in my entire life. And
Crazy.
everybody doubled down on America.
Agreed, dude.
So
100%.
yeah, those two, bar none, the wildest of all time.
Well, it was extremely wild to think that Sergeant Slaughter was like billed as this American hero in our army, and then all of a sudden he turns and he's with the Iranian, like during Desert Storm, and like you said, he comes out with the Sheik, and you're like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, because he wasn't
It
a
was
real
unbelievable.
American.
They just did a documentary on that. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. I remember renting that tape and watching it, you know, where he's got like the flag over him on the promo. And there was nothing better because it was so real. And they said that they had to change arenas because of it, bomb threats. There was so much going on. Slaughter took some real eating craziness. But I agree. Yep. I remember that feeling as a kid with Slaughter and Hogan. And like I probably hated Sergeant Slaughter more than anybody at that time. You know, that's a great call. I'm with you on that.
Well, and
I
also,
love the Slaughter
for me,
one.
I was a military brat. My dad was a Green Beret, so I'm like watching this crap on the screen, and I'm looking at him. I'm like,
oh yeah,
are you gonna go against Hulk Hogan too? Like
the ultimate betrayal. Yeah.
He went from G.I. Joe to that, and then and then it was fantastic.
Yeah. But I will say too, the most memorable.
You also had to bring up the Iron.
Sheik. Yeah,
I was you got to bring up the Iron Sheik too for during wrestling, but then the years that follow wrestling that he got on every radio interview he ever did, or even television interview he ever did. He talked so much smack on Hogan. And talked about him like he was the worst person ever. And they had heat for 30 years after wrestling. You know what I mean? After he beat him for the title, they still had 30 years of, well, I guess the Sheik had animosity towards Hogan. Yeah. Like, you didn't really hear Hogan talk too much about Sheik, but like Sheik despised him. He went on the Howard Stern show, talked about him all the time. Trash out about him all the time. And it was, I always enjoyed it because like they could say, tell me what you think of Hogan. And you could hear the veins popping out in Sheik's neck when he was talking about it. Like, that's how animated he got. So that's like real life, like heat and real life tension right there, man. That was nuts.
I wanted to tie real quick before we leave too, maybe most memorable loss, because the one that came to mind after you guys all went through the foils was when he lost to Undertaker because Flair and Heenan were interfering, and Flair came down, and was that his debut? But remember, he threw the chair out, and then he got tombstoned on the chair, and then that's how Hogan lost, and I think that's when Undertaker won the belt the first time. So that was like, that blew my mind. I was like, oh my God.
Well, and then the big story about that you hear Undertaker tell is that Hogan said to him, you really got me there, brother. But he said that he really hurt his neck, but he was like 5 inches away from his head, even touching the mat or the chair.
Yeah.
Undertaker has gone on record that said that was one of his worst tombstones because it wasn't believable, because he didn't actually hit him the way that he normally does. But Hogan said to him, you hurt my neck. You got me, brother. Like that. And he'll still make jokes about it to this day. Like Undertaker.
Yeah. He just did that recently. He just did it recently on his podcast, making that joke. Yeah,
he wasn't a big Hogan guy.
No,
a lot of guys didn't like him in the business. I mean, but today the day for that, you know. But it's a shame on some of that. But you know, like you said, he was an icon to us.
The most memorable loss for me for Hogan is the Saturday Night's Main Event against Andre with the 2 refs. I mean, I'll never forget. I don't know if any of you guys saw that. I watched that live, and I'll never forget, like, when Dave Hebner and Earl Hebner were standing there looking at each other, the twin brothers. Yeah. I was just like, what is going on?
That was the $1 million man, right?
Was used.
Yeah, that blew my mind. I mean, that blew my mind, the twin refs. That's one of the greatest little angles ever. I'll never forget that. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the most memorable loss was when he lost to Ultimate Warrior. Because as much as you kind of saw the writing on the wall, you just didn't think it was going to happen. You didn't think somebody was ever going to knock out Hulkamania.
That was his first real loss. The one I'm talking about wasn't like there was a cheating. You know what I mean? Like that Warrior was like, wow, he got pinned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And I was going to say then the other big loss that he had, of course, what his passing of the torch moment we didn't talk about was The Rock at
Yup.
Yeah.
was that 19,
Yeah.
18.
18,
Yeah.
That
of course.
WrestleMania. Yep.
And yeah, that was I mean that was
That was a hell
quite
of
a
a
moment.
match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like he started, and then I think that was his last kind of real moment as Hollywood, right? Like,
Yep.
didn't he
It,
turn
Yeah.
into back to Hulkamania shortly after? Yeah.
he did.
I think the next night.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah,
because
because
he got
Yeah.
so cheered. Everybody
he
just
got
loved him.
all
Yeah.
You know
over.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And
That was pretty cool.
that was like the epitome of the wrestling business for me in that night was watching that, because they had to adjust everything on the fly, because
Mhm.
everything that they thought the fans were going to do, they did the
Yeah.
opposite. So
Yep.
then they had to do the opposite and pivot in the ring and do all that. And two of the greatest to ever do that on the fly was in that match. And that was incredible. If you go back and watch that, look,
I
Hogan was a
just
little after his prime, but
yeah.
they,
I
I
just
mean,
did.
they
That's
put it work, man. They
I
worked.
was watching it earlier. That's not the match, but it's the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did good work in that match, man. They really did. Even though he was past his prime, like we talked about earlier, like Just Incredible talked about it. He could wrestle. He could when he
Yep.
had to, he could. But look, if you're gonna tell me I'm gonna pay you millions of dollars and all you gotta do is hulk up every now and then, boot somebody in the face and drop a leg drop, are you gonna say no? You're not gonna say no.
Mhm.
No.
Like that's how many times have we done that, and everybody on this pod has done it where we've hulked up. We've
Usually
hulked up
daily.
before.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah. Daily, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Tommy, we tailgated before. We hulk up before we go into the games, brother.
Damn right, brother.
All right, boys.
Nice.
I had a couple other moments, but
I want to hear him. I want to hear him.
I was going to say a couple things. One was when Justin talked about how, like, what you just alluded to, who was wrestling like early, that most of us probably didn't really see. But when he wrestled in Japan is when he got the idea for NWO, if I'm not mistaken. Like he's kind of they kind of half stole that idea between him and Bischoff from Japan of the faction. So I just thought that's a big thing to point out, that he did. But like we can't have a Hogan episode, and I think we're still missing at least two key moments. One, I mean, the Bash at the Beach '96 turn is obviously like we know it happened, but like we didn't even mention it. It's like it's got to be one of the greatest moments in wrestling, is it was that turn. I mean, they were throwing, like, again, that time where the lines were really blurred if it was real fake,
Yeah.
and like they are throwing trash at him. And
Yeah.
I mean, the balls he had to have to go from being the most beloved guy, like, in the world, in my world, but like, but he was an icon again. And he just threw his like just full heel turn and
Yep.
just the new world, the third man. I mean, Bobby Heenan on the call, like it was just,
Yep.
it's the greatest moment in wrestling history. Like
I
it's
did
so
it for
good.
the money.
Sleep that whole night. I didn't sleep that whole night. I was heartbroken. I didn't sleep that whole night.
That's the best.
And when you watched Nitro and you saw them come out and how cool they were, I was like, you know what? All right, I can dig
Yeah.
that. I can dig
Yeah,
that.
that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I had one last thing to add. I was gonna say, on a real level though, you talk about Vince McMahon built WWE. He helped create Hulkamania between the two of them, which to this day, of course. But like the whole steroid scandal, right, goes down.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on the stand and gets Vince out of jail. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yep.
like you talk about respect to Vince McMahon that Hulk Hogan gave him. Like, yeah, I know he had the immunity, I think, or whatever, but like I mean, that was a big deal. Like, dude, like,
It kept wrestling where it is, right? It kept wrestling afloat, because if that
yeah.
thing goes the other way, wrestling definitely isn't what it is today.
Oh,
And he was
yeah.
always about business and doing good business, in the ring. But like, that's obviously an out of the ring moment. And yeah, I mean, like just putting his neck out, like literally for Vince in that moment in trials is wild. And right or wrong, I'm just saying like that's pretty ballsy of him. To do that for the business. Really, at the end of the day, is what he was about. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we lost a good one.
I was pretty sure the government thought he was going to testify for them, and then he got up there
Yeah.
and did for Vin.
Oh yeah.
Saved Vince's ass for sure.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, boys,
Thank God for that, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, for sure. I am glad that we got to do this. I'm just sad that it has to be because we lost a hero from the wrestling community. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that we were able to sit and talk and share these memories. And obviously, there were so many memories, and there's probably a million more we're leaving on the editing floor. But with that said, gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight. Boys, can I expect to see the brothers when the Five Fingers to the Face podcast comes back?
Yeah, that would be great.
We would
Yeah,
I'm not
absolutely.
sure about it. Is that that's mostly sports? Do you guys do?
Oh, it's all combat sports. So it is wrestling, bare knuckle, UFC,
Okay.
slap, power slap, all that. Oh yeah, all of it. So but we've had a lot of wrestling
power
guests,
slap.
including
Nice.
Just Incredible. So again, this is something that I've always loved. I love all these sports, but it all started with wrestling. So with that said, that's my baby. And anytime I can talk about wrestling with other people that love it like I do, let's do it. So
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
joining us.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah, absolutely.
somber episode. But with that said, we are the Clashing Conferences. If you would like to join us so you can have discussions, banter, share memories, and things like that, we're easy to get a hold of. I don't even need to tell you where to reach out. We're everywhere. So reach out. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. R.I.P. Hollywood. Thank you for everything you did.
Hulkamania lives forever, brother.
Say your prayers.
And you'll never die.
Take your vitamins.
Take your vitamins.
Say
Drink
your
milk.
prayers, brother.
Brother.